Hey guys, the Kamsh here. Today we're going to be talking about playing mid-range Druid with double Raven Idol. I really like the card, think it's really versatile, and we're playing too. So we're going to go over the deck list, talk about what we're playing or not playing, why, etc. And then play some games with it on Legend Ladder. So to start off with, we have 2 Innervate, really crucial Druid card. Innervate Shade is one of the strongest turn 1 plays in Hearthstone. Innervating 5 drops just solidifies the board, or even like a Shredder, depending on the class you're playing against. And then innervating something like Dr. Boom or Thorson can just win you the game. It also lets you do things like force plus multiple roars in one turn if you haven't gotten Thorson triggers. So it's just a really powerful, versatile card. It's a little bit bad to draw in the late game, but you can always try to find a use for it. Next up, we have 2 Raven Idols. So this is the card we're testing out from the new set. It's really sweet just because it gives you, a lot of different options. Usually you want to look for a spell early because you can find like more innervates and wild growths or removal. But if you're playing against a control deck, you can try to look for threats with it. You can try to find BJs. Like there's all these crazy Raven Idol plays you can try to make if you're really far behind the game, like a game you wouldn't normally win, like find arena or something when you're going into fatigue. And just it really gives you what you want. If you want acceleration or removal, you take a spell. If you want a threat, you can take a minion. You can get extra combo pieces with it. If you have your Thorson out or like a lot of innervates in hand, you can triple Savage Roar in one turn. That's just crazy. So I really like playing 2, and we're gonna test it and see how it goes. Playing double Wild Growth, really important just to accelerate. You can go turn 2 Wild Growth and a 4-drop. You can coin Wild Growth into a Shade. You can, coin Wild Growth into Innervate a 5-drop, and this is really powerful. And in the late game, it just draws you cards, so it's fine. If you go for a spell with Raven Idol and you get 2 pretty bad spells like Naturalizing Claw or something, you can just take Wild Growth and cycle it later to draw a card, which is pretty sweet. Or if you're in the early game, you can just ramp yourself up. Next we have Double Wrath, which is really good removal spell, also cycles to draw you cards and has some synergy with the one of Azure Drake, or if we get something with spell power off Raven Idol. Double Savage Roar, part of the Double Force of Nature Double Savage Roar combo, I'm sure most of you are familiar with, deals 14 damage to 1 turn or more if you're casting multiple pieces or creatures on the board. It's our way to win the game, sort of our burst finisher, although we can win grindy mid-range games as well. Then we have 1 big game hunter, just because most people play Dr. Boom or a big game hunter target, and we want to be able to remove that without devoting too many resources. Playing just 1 shade to make room for all the other sweet cards we're playing, and also with a lot of arena lock and stuff like that on ladder, paladins, some play consecration or quality. The shade just isn't as good as it used to be. It's still a great card, but we're just playing the 1, it's fine even if we draw it late, it's only 3 mana and it'll get bigger, and if we draw it early it's good too, but we just don't really want 2 shades. We want to make room for other sweet cards. You can always find a shade off Raven Idol. Oh, you probably shouldn't try to dig for one, since getting 1 specific card is pretty improbable. Just want to add that disclaimer there. Double Swipe, great removal spell, can even go to phase 2 if we need the burst, standard Druid card. Double Keeper, really versatile, silence damage, does everything we want it to, great in almost all matchups. Except Control Warrior and some others like that, but just really versatile, good card. Double Pilot Shredder because it's just uncontested the best 4-drop in the game right now. We want to play 2. It's especially good in Druid because it drops things, so we want to have sticky minions that drop things so that we have more things that deal damage with Roar. We have should probably put that back in there, but we do have 1 Azure Drake just because we want to cycle through our deck. Put the Druid back in there as well. We want to cycle through our deck as fast as possible to get to the Force Roar combo, and we also want to build a board. This does both those things, then it has a spell damage synergy with Wrath and Swipe. We don't want to play 2 because its stats are a little weak for the 5-drop slot, and there's some matchups where, it's not that great to cast Azure Drake on 5, but we are playing the 1 because it's really powerful. You can innervate it to replace the card you lost by using innervate to cast something, which is pretty sweet as well. Double Druid of the Claw. So this is also really versatile. It can be a taunt in matchups where you want to be defensive. It can also charge for damage. Along with Savage Roar, it can give you some lethals that you wouldn't have otherwise. Just a really good versatile card. Then we have a 1 of Belcher because, we want a little bit of extra taunt against, a lot of aggressive decks, like Shaman right now is probably the most aggressive deck in the meta, so we want that little bit of taunt. Also, it makes something when it dies, which again is synergy with Savage Roar. We have Double Force of Nature, as we talked about, for the Force Roar combo. Like a long time ago, people used to just play 1 in mid-range Druid, but now 2 is just really powerful because of all the slower decks and arena lock and stuff like that. Combo is your main win condition. We have 1 Thorson to reduce the cost of everything. particularly powerful with Force Aurora because again it lets you cast multiple combo pieces in a turn, like more than 2, sometimes 3, 4, etc. And also it's just good acceleration. If you innervate it, everything's cheaper for a while and it's hard for them to kill it. We're playing one Sylvanas, a lot of big threats going around on ladder right now that are hard to kill. Malygos Rogue is pretty popular, playing a Sylvanas if they don't have a sab for it, pretty sweet. You get a steal a Malygos, stuff like that, and it's just a good tech choice sort of in the meta right now. Double Ancient Allure, this card's great because it heals you against the aggro, but most of the time you're just drawing cards to look for combo, and it's also a 5/5 body, which is sweet. Really good value, 5/5, draw you 2 cards. We're playing one Ancient of War as a taunt. Again, if you innervate this early and the Shaman doesn't have Earth Shocks or has already used them, then this is just a win against them, and this is also just a decent, solid body that can be hard to remove. And of course, we're playing Dr. Boom because it's makes 3 creatures, which is great for Savage Roar. The Boom Bots can deal some extra damage to face, which we want to do, and in general, it's just a great big threat. Some of the cards we're not playing the Wild Roots or Living Roots, sorry. I always blank on the name of cards, but Living Roots we're not playing because while it's great and versatile and most Druid lists run 1, the tokens are pretty easy to kill, and we're running the double Raven Idol instead, so we have to cut some stuff to make room, and it's going to usually be our 1-drop. Like, if we don't have anything to do with our mana, we can just take a look for something, and then get something else rather than making it 2 1/1s that won't affect the game as much. Living Roots is definitely great, might be right to play it in a standard Druid list, but I like the double Raven Idol. We're also not playing any Darnassus. Most lists nowadays are running 1, because you never want to draw it except on turn 2, like it can be really bad. I know it's a good card, but I'm just not personally in love with it. I don't like the mana loss that can come with it. If you're really relying on it and they have the removal spell or whatever. Most people will keep like Dark Bomb or whatever if they're playing against you as Druid anyway. And this way you just get to blank that completely, like most of your later minions won't die to it, so they just made a bad mulligan decision. And also I feel like Wild Growth, Innervate, and then Raven Idol early to find more acceleration is enough ramp for us. So that's the deck. Those are the decisions that I made with it. Some of them might not be right. I'm sure there's a more optimal Druid list than this, but Raven Idol is really fun, so we're gonna go ahead and play some games with this on ladder.